First, it's a pleasure to meet all of you, and I echo everything that Tara said. And I'm very much looking forward to this lunch and learn because Jill, I am so moved by what you shared. I also have the misfortune of having family that was in Germany at the wrong time, and tragically, I lost about half of them as a result of the horrors of the Holocaust. I happen to be a personal injury attorney. I'm a partner at one of the largest personal injury law firms in the country. It's Davis, Saperstein, and Solomon. And we happen to be in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is Bergen County. And what got me into this practice of law and what got me to supporting Mothers Against Drunk Driving now for decades is that photograph that you can see above my head. I refer to the individual in that photograph and the pedestrian crash that he was a victim of. I refer to it as the most significant personal injury case of my entire legal career. I actually authored a book, Spring Break, A True Story of Hope and Determination, about this student who was at the top portion of his class at the College of New Jersey. He was in a fraternity. He was the college's homecoming king. He had a girlfriend. Everything was going beautifully for him until one night when he was with his friends on spring break, a repeat offender drunk driver crashed into him at over 50 miles per hour. He was thrown 70 feet. But most seriously, in addition to horrific orthopedic injuries with both of his legs being crushed and having lost a lot of blood, he was knocked into the deepest possible coma. There's something called a Glasgow coma score. He was at a 3, which is the lowest level. And the prognosis, if you ever Google that, is not good. Very few survive from being in a Glasgow coma score of 3, which is that deep coma. And the few who do are profoundly disabled. And it's a permanent condition with no cure, unfortunately, in the year 2022 to brain damage, which is what it was. The reason why this story is so close to my heart is because the story of that student, the story of the book and topic of the book, Spring Break, is actually, it's all about me when I attended college. This is what happened to me when I was 21 years old and a senior at the College of New Jersey. Life was going beautifully for me, and I was not looking back. Little did I know with 6 weeks left to graduate that this is how my life was going to turn. I remained in the hospital for about half a year, underwent 15 surgeries, and was blessed to have a family that got a room in the hospital when I was in acute care for months so that they could be with me, they could talk to me while I was in a coma. And I wound up having a recovery that's somewhat unusual. And it's because of that full recovery that I give as much as I can to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which is my favorite nonprofit, national nonprofit. And I'm also the president of the board of the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey. And physicians groups around the world contact me regularly so that I can share with them how it is that I had this unusual recovery. And that was one of the catalysts for my authoring Spring Break. And I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but what I am most grateful for because of what happened to me is that since that time, over 500,000 students have taken a pledge. And the pledge is simple. If ever in their life they're going to drink, that they will not drive. And if they're around people who make the decision to drink, that they will do what they can within reason to stop them from getting behind the wheel of their car. And that pledge has lasted. And if there's any legacy that I could have, I would hope that that would be it. So that's my brief summary of who I am and what I do. It's very hard to do it alone, and that's why it is a privilege to be a part of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, because MAD, unlike any nonprofit I've ever seen, has an infrastructure where with increased volunteering and increased support, whether it's financial or otherwise, there is a corresponding direct correlation in there being less crashes and lives being saved. And in my practice as a personal injury attorney and just in life, when you see the impact of just the loss of one life, it is profound. And when you hear people say, well, if you can just save one life, then it's worthwhile. But when we all think about the benefit of saving just one life, that's one person who can be at the dinner table who would not otherwise be at the dinner table. That's one person that can now contribute to society, can grow a family, can have kids, and the list goes on and on and on and on, just from one life that's being saved. So to be a part of Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the fact that there's supporting data that shows that our efforts at MAD have resulted in a direct impact on lives being saved and crashes being prevented in every single state is the biggest honor and legacy that I can be associated with. My extension and what I do for MAD, just from my perspective, is that pledge that I ask so many people to take. And I am honored and thrilled when people come back to me months, even years later, and tell me that they still remember the day they took that pledge. So my request of all of you and my request of anyone who has the privilege of seeing this live stream video is pick May 12th, 2022. That's the day that you took a pledge. You took a pledge that if you're going to drink, you will not drive. And take it a little bit further, you're going to have so many experiences in your lives where you'll be around someone who's made the decision to drink and they should not be driving. Remember the promise, the pledge that you made on May 12th, 2022, and stop them. It isn't going to be easy, and they may even be a little angry at you that night for trying to stop them from drinking and driving, but that same person will be alive the next day to say thank you for saving my life. And just remember the inexplicable value of just one life being saved and the exponential benefit that comes from just that. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. One of the things that just fascinates me in life is how what would seem to be the most insignificant decision for a given moment can change the course of history for generations to come. And that applies, and you heard it in these conversations about how someone met their significant other or their spouse. What we may learn and how we may grow just from this interaction just now. None of us can see where it will go, but when we look back, it is really amazing how certain decisions that we've made at certain times just change things, and how we could rewrite history. We wouldn't do it because we wouldn't change a thing. So as it pertains to what had happened to me when I came so close to leaving this earth, I think of all the things that almost that would have changed everything, the decisions that I made that night. And I decided at that given time to walk back to my hotel room, not knowing at the same time that there was a drunk driver that was going to be getting into his car and doing the same thing. It's been a long road. This happened 33 years ago when I was 21 years old, and I went through the extraordinary surgeries and there were hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical expenses. But I'm in a very good place now, and I'm here with all of you. I am now connected with such an amazing nonprofit, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So in retrospect, I really wouldn't change a thing because it brought me to where I am today. And I'd love to know that everyone on this live stream feels the same way from any negative experience that may have happened in the past, but you wouldn't want to change it because it brought you to where you are today. In retrospect, when I look back and talk with my family about what it was like to be asked to consent to donate my organs, when I read the volumes of medical records about how close I was to leaving this earth, I just want to share with everyone, and this is an extension of what Dennis just shared, is that if there's one good thing that came out of the misery that I had gone through the half year I was in the hospital, is that I am living bonus years, and I genuinely embrace every single moment I am alive on this earth. And I recognize that the only thing that is real is right now. And what I ask people to do is to not learn from the difficult situation that I went through, to not have to learn from a difficult experience happening in their lives, and just understand that everybody's life, everybody on this Zoom call, everyone who's watching this live stream right now, everyone is living bonus times, bonus seconds, bonus minutes, bonus hours, bonus years. Just embrace it and enjoy it, and don't put your mind in the future, which isn't real right now. Keep it in the present and keep smiling and enjoy the ride, which is how I've been going about my life since March 20th, 1989, when the drunk driver had crashed into my body.